Yes, that's what they're there for. Okay, so now live is in a new section of the screen. Welcome to Senate Economic Development, Housing and General Affairs. It is January 6th, 2026, and we are beginning a new legislative session, the second half of our 2025-26 biennium. And I am Allison Clarkson. I'm the chair of the committee. And who might I have on my left?
I'm Randy Brock from Franklin County and Randolph County.
And the vice chair?
Senator Dave Weeks, representing Rutland County.
And we are missing today Tom Chittenden, who has a week full of UVM requirements, and it's very difficult for him to be here this week. And Keisha Ron Hinsdale, who's our majority leader in the Senate, and she was in the Senate Rules Committee, which is over, but we're hoping we will see her shortly. And we'd love to have our interns who are here with us. They're here once a week, and we would love to have them introduce ourselves because people will be seeing you, and it would be great to know who you are. So, Belle, why don't you start?
My name is Belle Scholl. I'm a senior at UVM studying environmental policy, law, and law, and I will be interning for Senator Chittenden for the entirety of the session.
Great.
My name is Aiden Moscow-Zervis. I'm also a senior at UVM studying political science with a minor in law and society, and I'm going to be interning with Senator Brock for the session.
I'm Lucy Johnson. I'm a junior at UVM, a political science major, philosophy, and environmental studies minors, and I'm interning for Senator Weeks.
That's great. Welcome. And the most important person in this room is our new committee assistant, Kiara Mead. And it would be great for us to have a chance just to meet Kiara and get to know her a tiny bit. Introduce yourself to the world at large.
So I'm Kiara Mead. I'm the new committee assistant. I graduated from UVM in 2023 with a double major in gender and women's sexuality studies, political science, and a business administration minor. I'm very excited.
That is a long
It's a bit
academic
of I'm very, very excited to be here, and yeah, what else you want to know about me, but.
Well, it's great to have you here, and we are so grateful for you taking up the reins. We are going to miss Heidi. Heidi took a job with benefits. Sadly, our committee assistants do not get benefits, which is a real problem, just like legislators.
Neither do we.
We don't get benefits either. So anyway, it's great to have you, and what an adventure we're going to be on.
Absolutely.
So I thought just today we would introduce ourselves, and I would love to hear a little bit about the committees people worked on over the break, and travels that impacted our lives, because Senator Weeks has just had an amazing global adventure, a couple actually, and just to chat about what some of our priorities are for the year and the priorities here in this committee. And you know, I just in an informal start, I first and foremost want to pass around our contact sheet, because in case anything got updated, I want to make sure we all have our names, cell phones, and personal emails so that Kiara can reach us at all times, which, as we know, often is needed because all sorts of things go wrong. So, David, you want to start?
So summer committees, nothing really special except LCAR continued. It's kind of a light LCAR session.
LCAR means?
Legislative Committee on Administrative Rules.
It's a very important committee, and I mean, just for our interns and for the public, can we just kind of quickly say what it does?
Yeah, so legislature passes bills, governor signs them into law. For the most part, they go to administrative departments, and then they then are required or tasked to essentially make implementation rules. Those rules put the bill into effect, or the act into effect. They come back, they go through ICAR, which is it's an intermediate
on legislative rules.
Yeah, anyway, they
Legislative
go through
committee.
ICAR first, if they want. And then they come back through the LCAR committee, which is, all legislators, it's half and half, Senate and House,
It's 4 each, right?
4 each, yeah. And, we evaluate whether the rules, are in compliance with the initial law, the bill that created the rule.
And that's often tricky. I mean, that's often,
Yeah,
sometimes that's tricky.
I'd say 90% of the time, it's not contentious at all. The 10% of the time, it just chews up all the oxygen. Anyway, interesting committee.
Yeah.
And then, the Senate Education Committee did essentially, 5, visits to, schools where we talked with the administration of the school, the superintendent on down, the students, the faculty, and the public. So there was always a public comment section, which was fascinating. So as you can imagine, it's all about Act 73 and lots of misinformation about what the act does and doesn't do. But it was a good opportunity just to clear the air, answer folks' concerns directly. And then
And how many trips did you take?
there were 5. They were all day, and Senator Clarkson joined us in the last one.
I was actually also with that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course. And then Senator Clarkson asked for, okay, so what do we do during the
Yes,
summer
that's
and
so
the
good.
fall?
Yes, because our real lives, our real lives are very important to our legislative lives, and they certainly inform them, and certainly inform our worldview.
All true. So, thank you for asking. I'm not sure if it's completely relevant, but I spent essentially a month in India. My wife's head of school in a new school in India, and that was a fascinating experience to see a new school starting up in this was definitely third world environment, but a fascinating opportunity to see that part of the world. And then came back, repacked my bags, and went the other way around the world to Philippines.
But we had lunch in between.
Yeah. So all about shipwrecks, scuba diving, fascinating. I did that for several weeks and finally dragged myself back home.
Well, that was hard.
Focused on this.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Wow, what an amazing summer. In the fall. Really incredible. Randy, what were you?
I didn't do anything this summer because Senator Weeks did it all for me.
You've got to live vicariously through David.
Absolutely, absolutely. Committees. This summer, the Joint Information Technology Oversight Committee,
Oh, right.
which takes a look at the whole issue of our information technology structure and how it works and what are the priorities, and managed to go through the entire year without defining any priorities, which again is one of my concerns. We looked at a bunch of things in no particular order that are all important and that all spend a lot of money, and hopefully ask enough questions to ensure that our comfort level is at least where it ought to be. I am concerned that there's more that needs to be done in that area, without a doubt.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
What did you guys do in the wake of the AI task force? Did you do anything additionally following up with the AI task force?
Not really. There wasn't anything really that the Oversight Committee did except look specifically at particular issues or programs or processes that we have in effect that need to be watched, such as what's going on in the Labor Department and unemployment as an example, in which we have had, I sort of had some long-standing concerns over the years. And one of the tasks I think that the committee has, probably more than any other, is to light fires. So that when the fire dies out, when people haven't talked about it for a year, it tends to get forgotten and put off because there are other priorities. And one of the things that oversight committees do is keep the fires lit.
Yeah.
To make sure that the bodies that are involved, the departments and agencies, don't think that we've forgotten about them. And particularly if we asked a question a year ago, we didn't get a good answer, and a year before that, we didn't get a good answer. We're going to ask the same questions over and over again until we get answers that we're comfortable with.
And we have joint oversight committees on many subjects.
We do.
And it would be I don't actually know how many, but we have them on corrections, we have them on the judiciary, we have them on childcare, child welfare, we have them on a number of, and healthcare. And, you know, I actually don't know how many joint oversight committees we have, but we have quite a few. And they're ones that people serve on all year, as opposed to these are standing committees. Anything else you did? So, did you, Andrea, do some exciting travel?
No, we didn't. We stayed home.
But
that was excitement all
staying
myself.
home is excitement because they have one of the most beautiful gardens in Vermont. And tending to it and loving it and making it glorious is one of
My wife is a superb gardener, award-winning. She's been in all kinds of magazines and so on in terms of photos of the garden, the work that she's done, and I will say that she's done, not necessarily that I've done.
And this spring, we're gonna have a field trip up to see this garden. Because it has, you know, gardens and gardening is an economic development driver, definitely in the state, and definitely with Andrea.
It's certainly an economic development driver, because I know I've been driving most of the time in Franklin County for the past 20 years.
Back and forth to the supply, to your wonderful garden center.
Yeah. Other committees, I'm on the committee that, I forget what it's called now, but it's an oversight committee that is actually part of a tri-state organization that looks at the future of Lake Champlain and how Lake Champlain operates. And there's a New York group, there's a Vermont group of which I'm a member, and then there's also a Quebec group. So, and the three parts get together from time to time, and we look at the future of Lake Champlain and also the health of the lake, and talk about issues and propose each year a series of recommendations, ideas, in some cases legislation that comes through here. And so that's something you may hear something about periodically. And the results so far are good, are pretty good in terms of what we're seeing. In terms of the commitment to the lake and maintenance of that lake, although there is still a lot of concern about stuff that's getting dumped in the lake, particularly by municipalities such as Burlington, when things go wrong, and that has a cost. There's a cost to all of us.
Well, we see the closure of the beaches with all the phosphorus is a huge impact.
The whole phosphorus issue is significant statewide. I'm concerned on this particular committee because we're concerned about Lake Champlain as opposed to the broader issue that the Health and Welfare or the Natural Resources Committee is in the Senate, the primary committee that takes a look at that. Senator Weeks is on the Judicial Rules Committee. I'm on, as was.
You know, you and I are on judicial rules.
No, I'm not.
I'm sorry.
We're on judicial rules.
We're on judicial rules, which are the rules that govern the judiciary. And it is I'm on with Senator Clarkson, and we both are thoroughly excited by what a tremendously captivating set of meetings that we
It
have.
often can be. It was particularly captivating around the electronic filings. It was very captivating at that point. But it's very interesting. The minutia is actually where it all matters and where the rubber hits the road and where it gets applied. And so actually we've had some very interesting.
We actually had one issue I think this year that actually got people's attention when.
Yes.
But you can disrupt that. I'll leave that to you.
So, well, anyway, I'm looking for, I think it would be fun to do a field trip up to your garden if Andrew's willing.
Please do.
So I had a great summer and fall. We married our only two children. We married both our sons within 6 weeks of each other, which was fabulous. If I can say so myself, it was great. And one was married in Woodstock, and we had a big, huge Vermont wedding. And one was in England at Burway House, which was also fabulous. So they were, one was big, one was small, one was abroad, one was here. It was great. It was altogether wonderful. And they have married to fine women, and anyway, it's all, and right now, our youngest son, William, is on their honeymoon. He and Kelsey are on their honeymoon in New Zealand, so again, these cops taking pictures, Molly, just can't believe the outdoor opportunities there. Incredible, I know. So that was a large part of the summer. I also served on the Act 69 task force, which came out of this committee, as you'll recall, which looked at the housing, the challenge of how we create housing for our intellectually developmentally disabled Vermonters. They're not young anymore. Many of them are getting to be very middle-aged, and their parents are older than I am and aging and not able to take care of them. And the houses they have been living in are all often not able to continue to take care of them. And we need, it's estimated at the moment, about 600 housing opportunities for these citizens of ours. And so we're going to be hearing one, as you'll look at our agenda this week. We're just going to begin with a report from that committee. And that was really the only, other than judicial rules, the only committees I worked on, although I worked very hard with the chair of House General on landlord-tenant bill, which will be coming to this committee. And as we continue to look at housing issues, I also worked hard on some other bills that will be coming to this committee. So we're going to have vibrant conversations about a whole range of things.
And taking that particular issue about people who have difficulty maintaining housing, another committee that I'm on in the summer was the Senate appointment to the Alzheimer's and related disorders committee or commission.
Oh.
And that has largely outside members, and there's a member from the Senate and there's a member from the House, and that always provides a variety of both bills and proposals to, again, take care of people who can't take care of themselves well. And I know we're talking about, for example, this year, considering again the respite grant issue, tons of people in Vermont, but not just hundreds, but literally thousands of people take care of other people who can't effectively take care of themselves. And often, and almost invariably, without any compensation of any kind, and in many cases, having to take off from compensated work, thereby losing family income, and in some cases, sole income, in order to provide these kinds of services that people can't afford to pay for themselves. And we do have a couple of bills back in two different ways, looking at how to provide some kind of compensation for the respite work, with a rationale that if you don't provide some kind of compensation, then those people wind up in nursing homes in which the cost is much, much higher than any respite grant that you might do. And so in trying to save money, you actually cost money. And that is again, something that we're confronting.
Is that building on our Choices for Care program, which is already in place and does exactly that, which helps pay family members for caring for people who are at home. And so, and then my committee knows this because they've been celebrating my 70th birthday all year long, since March, all the way through. And I ended that celebration with going to Vienna, which is where a large number of my family are from, Austro-Hungarian Empire, and a lot in Vienna. And it was great. Oliver and I had a wonderful week bringing in the new year in Vienna, which meant a lot to me, and it was really moving. So it was just great, and that has been the catapult that has catapulted me into this session. And Kiara, what have you been up to this summer and fall, other than getting ready for this?
This summer and fall, not too much, honestly. But prior to working here, I worked at Norwich University as the assistant director of civic engagement. And I had the really unique opportunity to go to Nepal to try to get a travel study set up for students there. So that was amazing, really cool. Hopefully this 2026 coming year, they will actually have students on the ground sending them.
Great.
So that was awesome. But other than that, mostly just hanging out, getting ready for the session. I manage at a restaurant as well, so doing that. But yeah.
We're so delighted that you have chosen to join us. So in terms of this session, so we've had two new advocates join us, and then we're asking everyone to introduce themselves. So Molly, why don't you start? Who are you?
Thank you. I am Molly Hart, president of the Vermont Ski Areas Association. I'm trying to train myself to go by Ski Vermont instead of the longer name, but it's the same. And we are a nonprofit trade association for the alpine and cross-country ski areas across the state.
Happy to be here. It's great and you also keep an ear for outdoor recreation, which is a big piece of our economy, a growing piece of our economy, and an important one for this committee.
Yes, and we have Outdoor Recreation Day at State House coming up on February 5th.
Ooh, good to know about.
Yes.
Maybe we'll have some outdoor recreation opportunities out on the front lawn.
We're happy to see the weather cooperating this year.
Well,
So far.
Hello, so hi, my name is Helga Dugdal, and I moved to Vermont in August 2024 to do an MBA from at the UVM. I moved here from Iceland, but I'm born in the US, but spent the better part of my life in Iceland. So I'm a relatively new Vermonter, but happy to be involved in what you guys are doing here because I do have a past in politics in Iceland. I formed two political parties there and was very involved both on the municipal side and also on the parliamentary side. And I do some consulting for the current foreign minister, so can't really keep my keep away. But my interests in sort of doing sorry, back over a bit. I'm working with Maidstone PR, and we're working with in Volpa and the Outdoor Businesses Association. So pretty much a lot in public health and a lot of things to do with outdoor recreation and economic development. And I do have a keen interest in sort of learning how all of this works, because it's somewhat familiar to me because Iceland is a very, very small nation, half the size of Vermont. But there's things that I'm still learning. So be patient with my like keeping up with how all the things work. But there are a lot of similarities, and I'm very excited for this.
right. Well, it's lovely to have you visiting us. It's welcome.
So
Good catch.
it's half the size, but population-wise, how's it?
Yeah. Well, the size is pretty. It's a big island,
Yeah.
but there's 380,000 people. Yeah.
Okay,
It's half the population. It's bigger than Vermont.
Yeah.
Land.
yeah, twice the size.
It's huge island, but it's very few people.
Very few people.
But lots of tourists.
Lots of tourists. So there are similar sort of themes, but me and my husband are very devoted to being in Vermont. He works for the city of Burlington doing housing, so there's a lot of debates going on in the house.
Well, any insights on housing we'd appreciate.
Absolutely.
We work away every year. We're only here 4.5 to 5 months a year. We work really hard to try and, we're really dedicated to trying to reduce the barriers to housing development in this state in a thoughtful way that balances both continuing to maintain the gloriousness of Vermont's natural beauty, but also to be able to house its population because we have a huge need. So we have the bills that we still have on the wall. I'd love if we would take some time to review them. What's still here, and then of course we're getting masses of new bills that we will be getting. We oversee, for all of you who are new to the committee, we have a broad jurisdiction. One of the amusing things about having an assistant whose last name is Need is one of our areas of oversight is liquor and lottery and gaming. And so, Mead is one of the proud products we make here, an alcoholic beverage made of honey that actually has quite a following from the medieval times to right now. So, but we oversee obviously housing, economic development, cannabis, liquor lottery, and sports betting, and labor. And those are our primary areas of jurisdiction. And so you will see a whole range of bills which reflect that, obviously. Any top sort of priorities for you two coming into the session that you haven't already shared with me? I know you shared some because of trash, both of you. But I think we're going to plunge right in. I am working, one of the things we've asked for. So we ask for things that we ask people to go off and do further work on them because we don't have time to. One of those is Act 250 appeal. The Land Use Review Board, which we created 2 years ago, has met and actually has done their recommendation. It's on our committee webpage, right? All the reports are now on our committee webpage under reports and resources. We will be probably doing a joint hearing with Natural Resources on the appeals because our deadline was so early. It is the bill that Ann and I ended up introducing. We basically took the LURB report and Ellen turned it into a bill just so that we would then get this started. But there are some really thoughtful additions to that work that are being proposed that we will be hearing about. But we're next week hopefully going to have a joint session with them to hear the report on the report. And there are many other things if you think we would benefit from having a joint session on a subject that you know is of joint interest with another committee. Workforce development, we'll be having joint hearings with education on the work we did. Keisha and I were on this group that she pulled together that met over the summer. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Over the summer and fall, Keisha and I worked on workforce development, and we had 3 or 4 meetings at different career technical education centers, and are going to hopefully be advancing work along with the education work that we're doing this year on our career and technical education and workforce development. So those things are coming. The other reports that the task force on intellectually developmentally disabled housing, that will be taking that up. And there's so many other things. And the data trust work we asked for is coming back to us. Labor will be discussing that Wednesday, I think. But as we sort of make it through the next sort of week or so, please let me know if you'd like to have a joint hearing with a committee that you think we have joint interests on.
No, this is not so. We have joint interest with so many committees.
This is true.
And we have interest about what so many committees do. My interests often get translated, though, into a few concepts that as I'm looking at every bill and I'm looking at everything we do, everything that we plan, to ask questions, why does it take so damn long to do things? Look at the efficiency of processes and just look at the inefficiency of government. If you want to not get something done, give it to government to do.
Oh,
and they will not do it, and they will take a long time not to do it. But as you look at, issues of why does housing cost so much? Well, one of the reasons housing costs so much is it takes years to get a plan done that is acceptable and that passes through this labyrinth of agencies and departments and groups and people who are involved in doing it. And on the one hand, the argument is, well, we get citizens involved. Well, in many cases, the thing that we hear most often is citizens don't feel they're involved because they think that bureaucrats are doing everything. And so there are different perspectives. But the bottom line is when you try to construct a complex of apartments in a place like South Burlington, why does it take 3 years to do it? And you look at those states that have lower costs and faster moving economies in many ways, they don't seem to see the same kind of, you could all call it citizens involvement, or you could call it mass confusion that you see here in Vermont when we try to get things done. And those are just questions that you will notice for those of the interns, the kinds of questions that I tend to ask witnesses over and over again are along those lines.
Well, hopefully we will be speeding up things like the eviction process with our landlord tenant bill But you have to balance both sides of it. So you have to make progress, you aren't gonna make any progress ramming anything down anybody's throat unless you get buy-in.
But you're
From both
going
sides.
to have measurement though.
Yeah.
And by measurement, you can't say that things are going well, because, you know, what you will find with agencies, particularly if you've been here and you listen to this, and Allison, I think you know that, is that we often go over the same issues over and over again. And you have to ask questions, because people will not, who testify to things that they're not doing well at, unless you ask the questions to get that out.
Yeah, often the case. I would say, in terms of speeding up the appeals process, that is part of what the report is about and part of what we're.
And it's really important.
And it's important, although, as we all know, actually very few of the appeals take a long time. Most of them go through reasonably quickly. But that is what our objective has been, to speed up the ones that need to be speeded up.
And you also have to recognize that you have lots of interests that testify before legislative committees. And sometimes, if not frequently, those interests are at odds with each other. And although you may have, for example, a goal to get things done rapidly, there are others who have a goal that is exactly the opposite, to slow things down, because the concept is we're moving too fast, we're doing this without enough citizen involvement and so on. And so you just have to understand what the competing interests are. And as you digest what they tell us, you have to also ask yourself in the back of your mind, why are they telling us this? Is it for a valid reason, or is it because of another objective that is different than the objective, for example, that the committee is trying to achieve?
David, any thoughts on things that you?
No, my priorities remain the same. I think in my neck of the woods, we have a housing problem, but we also have an excess of unoccupied houses. And the cost of renovating a house versus building a new home is essentially 10% to somewhere between 10% to 25% comparison. And I really want to make sure that we put the proper emphasis on VHIP, as well as a conversation about
Vermont Housing Improvement Program,
as well as eminent domain.
So on that, as you know, I've put in a bill that we can build on with GovOps. That is a good example of both our housing engagement with GovOps. And let me just give you this. Senator Ron Hinsdale, why don't you come and join us and fill
I
out?
like the new cards.
Yeah, okay. We have been meeting since 11, and we'd love to have you introduce yourself and fill us in on what you did this summer and fall, and then we're chatting about priorities.
Okay. I don't know what I did this summer and fall. Now
You
that
did a
it's
lot of
January. Well, I'll say what I think is relevant
who are
to
you?
the committee. So I'm Senator Keisha Ron Hinsdale. I taught a class at UVM that someone was in. I am the Senate Majority Leader, and I serve on this committee in Senate Education. And as the chair knows, I took it upon myself to try and lead some informal work on career technical education.
I just mentioned.
Okay. So that's what I was working on policy-wise, in addition to my housing work, and in addition to a comprehensive bill on the regulation and enhancement of the cannabis market. As the federal government looks to deschedule cannabis, we need to, as a committee, be the leaders in making it a consistent market, rather than, a substance that's so regulated that it pushes people back to the illicit market. That's always the balance we've tried to find in this committee. We were also on the road a lot as Senate Education, and that was very instructive to all of us. And I have walking pneumonia, so I might not be here in full capacity all week. That was part of my unplugging and going on vacation with my kids and coming back to the bitter cold. And it's post-viral. It's not contagious, but
it has impact.
Stay healthy. Yeah. So that's, and I have my two little kids.
And you have two, and she has two young children
Mm-hmm.
under the age of 5.
My 1-year-old and my 2-year-old. under the age of 3,
No,
so
the age of-
they may be in here from time to time.
They will.
Yes, and it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Here,
Here, patient. And they are delicious. They
They
have
are.
both been cooked in this.
It's true, they know Senator Fluxon's voice very well, from the womb.
Well, I think that this is great. One of the things I did want to talk about is our meeting schedule. So right now, we are meeting from 9 to noon.
My calendar's on my phone.
We have, as you know, very limited time. I would love it if we could commit to meeting 1 or 2 times a week. I know 9 o'clock at 8:30 is challenging for the commuters, but I really would love to maybe 1 or 2 days a week commit to starting at 8:30 instead of 9. Would that make it more palatable if it wasn't every day at 8:30? Because I know where the resistance is here.
The distance, obviously, the distance in time
I'll step out of this conversation.
is challenging. And, I looked last year, we were the only committee that met at 8:30.
Oh, I don't believe that's the case. Ginny often starts at 8:30.
On the list
Oh.
that was published, we had the list in here. I think it's out there in terms of schedule. We're the only committee that met at 8:30.
Well, we have more to do than many. So I also think, anyway, I'd like you to think about that. We are going to be doing our agenda planning. If you have anything you want to make sure is on the agenda, we're going to be doing agenda planning as we have in the past. Wednesday after our committee breaks, we'll be doing agenda planning from sort of 12 to 12:30 initial, and then of course it continues.
I know you're going to be here on Wednesday, so you'll be able to benefit from that and be able to provide that to everybody else.
I mean, I'll just say, I think I will meet whatever time the chair wants to meet. I think it helps when people know that we have a lot to accomplish and we're moving through the agenda quickly.
Yes.
Like meeting at 8:30 because we have something day in the State House, I think is a harder sell than we have a bill to move this week.
Okay, let's see how.
Space to fill the time a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy to look at the next 2 weeks, 9 to 12. I would really like to think about a Thursday or a Friday starting at 8:30. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Maybe a different approach is keep the 9 to 12 schedule, but then agree that if we need to expand, we expand on this particular day. We all understand that, 3 weeks from now, we may in fact have a requirement at 8:30.
And the goal is to get a bill out.
Right.
So I will tell you that a new requirement this year is that the committee bills have to at least be, the substance has to be identified and drafted by the end of January. That is a new requirement. That we have some major committee bills that we're going to be working on. Housing, workforce development probably, and economic development. So we have actually some substantive stuff that we got to get through the grinder by the end of January. So it has to be, it can then be introduced on the floor and come back and be reassigned to our committee for further work. It doesn't have to be finished, but it has to be at least the concept and some of the key elements drafted. So that is a pressure we have not ever had before in terms of committee bills. We've been able to do committee bills sort of whenever we wanted. So that, I would say, is the big addition for me for January, for wanting to start a little earlier.
So did I miss you saying what committee bills you want to get out by the end of January?
I've been starting with what are people's priorities first, and then we will get that. But I'm hopeful we'll get quite a bit done. But the committee bills, any bill that's introduced on its own is fine and can be taken up at any point. But the committee bills, the real pressure is on the committee bills.
And I think they're more important than what's on the wall.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of good, that's going to be some good stuff coming into our committee. So I think that is it for today. We're gonna, yes, David.
To Senator Hinsdale's point, the ARC, the new ARC, economic development perspective.
Absolutely, the art in this room, and these two are just placeholders. They're not.
That one's more peaceful
Yeah,
than the rest.
So the objective in both economic development. Creative economy is a critically important piece of economic development in this state. We have more artists than any other state per capita. And so the objective in this room was to have art that was for sale. 3 portraits of women farmers, women by Juan Carlos are coming to this room, I hope. And these will be removed. And we'll have one more there. So, and all the art in this room and in Senate Gallant are for sale, which is incredibly important part of our world.
How do we do?
But
How do we do in sales?
sadly, we have not sold one thing. But we've had their work exhibited, and we actually this year, if we have time, we might even have the artists come in and meet them.
I mean, if I was staring at something I liked all session, I might buy it, you know? They stress me out. Because these, I wish we had new art.
This one's
Sorry,
you out.
artist. These are very loud,
Yeah.
and I thought they were gonna be changed out.
Okay, but we will certainly discuss.
And they haven't sold any.
Yeah, well, this is true. Hard. Anyway, thank you all. I think we're done for today. We will meet first thing tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and we will be jumping right in with economic development and housing with our new Commissioner of Economic Development, Lyle Jepson, and our Commissioner of Housing and our Secretary of the Agency of Commerce and Community Development. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you tomorrow.
8:30 tomorrow.